so gross.
Okay. I had to come on. I had a doctor's appointment, and it's 1:00. And I figured I'd come on here and share. This is way too white. Sorry. I tried something different on my eyes, and I don't love it. I'm listening to the Tom Sandoval interview on Howie Mandel. And this has got to be one of the most, like, there's two sides to every story. And I'm happy that, like, the reunion airs for Vanderpump in like 2 months. So I'm happy that we get a taste of what his answers are going to be now versus, 2 months from now. But oh my God, this guy has zero fucking self-awareness. None. Lacking in every single department. Zero self-awareness, zero ability to it's bananas. So I thought we could listen to part of it together. Cause this is insane. This is insane. This guy is like, he's not even a master manipulator. I almost think he buys his own lies. Like, he feels like he's actually right and correct here. This feels, I can't explain it. Okay, let me rewind. And I'll give you my thoughts as we go. So the first 20, we'll see how long. The first couple of minutes, Howie's talking about how he knows Sandoval. They have a friend in common, yada, yada, yada. Nobody fucking cares, right? No one cares. We don't care about that. Steph's here. Yeah, I agree, Steph. I agree. But I think it's interesting. While I agree that the interview is like a waste, yeah, you're right. It's a waste of time listening to him. I think it gives us so much insight. I know, Steph.
Some things for us, and I started thinking I don't want to do that anymore.
Okay.
It was nice. There was a safety to it.
Okay, so I'm gonna get to the part where he starts talking about him and Ariana.
I feel like that's a fault on both of us. It just was kind of how it was. She didn't want to go, and I mean, that's normal.
So he's talking about the foundation of their relationship, him and Ariana's relationship, and I've been married for 15 years next month. I've been with my husband for 20 years this past January. And what he's describing is like a stable, healthy relationship, as far as I can tell. He's like, well, there just wasn't this desire anymore. Or it was just, I would go to a wedding by myself and she had it like her manager's wedding and she'd go to that, but we were living separate lives. But, at some point later on, he also talks about how she didn't notice when he was in a bad mood. But that their relationship was safe and they were partners, and that none of that is a red flag to me. You were safe, you were partners, maybe you weren't as intimate as you would like to be. Those are conversations you have to have and have an understanding and communicate. You have to communicate. You can't, in my experience, you can't put thoughts out into the universe. Like Tom's going, I feel like I need more X. And Ariana's just supposed to be like, oh my God, I captured that thought in the ethos of our home. And I'm now going to give it to you, even though you haven't given me any information. No information.
Her manager at a wedding, I was like,
So he complains about the fact that she didn't go to this wedding that he saw Howie Mandel at. Because, she just prefers to lay in bed. But she had a wedding that he didn't go to, but that's just how their relationship was. So it's not okay for her to do it. It's okay for him to do it. So we're already seeing a double standard. And by the way, this is stuff that gets me really heated. I hate this stuff. I hate it when specifically men attempt to explain their problems away in a way that allows them to somehow give them grace, give nothing to the woman insofar as grace, and justify all of their own actions because they wanted it. It's not because there's some greater meaning behind it. It's just my desires were X. I needed to fulfill my desires, and this is how I did that, so you must accept it.
We just sort of did our own thing, but we always wanted to make sure and keep the optics up that we were a solid, powerful couple because it was part of our brand.
So he's lied this entire time. That's what I hear from that. That's what I hear from that. We kept the optics. I had issues going on in my relationship, but we kept the optics up because it was our brand. Wasn't that what Stassi was saying when she had her book party and everybody was like, Tom, you're just jealous. You cannot stand like other people getting attention. You always want to control the narrative. And he's like, no, that's not me. That's not me. That's not me. I would never. Not me. Not me.
You know?
And is that something that you discussed with her? Like to say, hey,
Yeah,
listen,
I mean,
even though we're kind of at best like roommates and we love each other and we're really good friends,
we're good roommate. We're roommates. We love each other and we're really good friends. Again, it feels like the things that we're missing is Sandoval's confidence and more intimacy that he desired. If you have a partner that you want to go long-term with, or you have a relationship that's safe and healthy, you can, for the most part, I feel, you can communicate your way through those things. You say, this is what I want. Okay, this is where you're at. Let's see. Let's get into therapy. Let's figure out how we can like get this to work, because we have the foundation for a successful relationship. You just got a few things off. But in Sandoval's head, there's you can either fix the issue that's causing the pain, or you can treat the pain, right? He wants to just like, oh, I want someone to deeply desire me. I want to be the object of somebody's affection, like intense desire. Well, it's just easier to go somewhere else and get that, because you don't have to build anything there. You can go to Rachel, who apparently, is running through the cast like wildfire and has not a lot of depth. Or you can be with a woman like Ariana, who's got a lot more depth. She's also older. She's also been through a lot. She also has mental health issues that you decided to stick around for.
Share with the world that this is not the perfect relationship? Is that a discussion?
It's sort of, I mean, especially with being on a reality show where you feel like you got frenemies around you, that want to try to dig up dirt about anything. We were very private in that sense because, it's not like the safest of places.
Interesting. Remember that he says this, because I've seen the future of this interview. We kept up the optics on the reality show because it was our brand, because there's frenemies everywhere. You never know who wants to use dirt against you. Later on, he goes on to say that he called the producer and said, we aren't showing our real life on camera, and that's not fair to everybody else on the show. So which is it? You wanted to keep up the optics for the brand? He says that when later on through this in February, they had this huge deal that was on hold because their relationship was rocky. So are you keeping up the optics for the brand and for the show because you're worried other people will figure it out or whatever it is? None of this stuff. He contradicts himself within seconds.
And so that was kind of sort of discussed, but it was kind of went unsaid. Like our communication was not great. And I feel like that's a fault on both of us. We also, especially this past year or so, we've both been dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression and ways that we handle it very differently. We're very different people. My way of handling it is like going out, meeting up with friends, drinking, like
extrovert,
coming home late, like getting up, working out, like just constantly moving, leaving, going, doing things. And
running
Ariana's
from
way is more like staying in bed all
introvert
day and like just isolating herself.
My way is like getting out and enjoying life and being with friends. Her way is laying in bed and isolating herself. The word choices, the immediate disrespect, which is interesting because now she's on Dancing with the Stars. She's in a movie. So even his own words don't jive with what's actually happening. He's the one that's like not being seen anywhere except for his shows. He's talking about how horrible his mental health is because of all of this, attention this has gotten, and it's on CNN, and who would have thought, and it's not that big of a deal. But just the I go out and do things. She stays home. Also, just for shits and giggles, my husband, huge extrovert. Me, intense introvert. I recharge at home, alone, or with my family, like safe space, chill. I need, when I have like intense depression or intense anxiety, which I do get, I have to be like here. I can't be running off and doing stuff because that doesn't help my mental health. Other people, I'm sure it does. Tim, he goes out and golfs with his friends and he has a great time. It's the exact same thing. I'm home, he's out, we treat it differently. We are not incompatible for that reason. If Tim then decided at some point, like, oh shit, I'm really dealing with something, but I like to leave and go out and deal with it that way, so I guess I'll go find like a bartender at a golf course to go hook up with. Like, that's the logic.
And it just, man, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like
because it's not
we just sort of kept going apart. And I started to feel, I turned 40 and I started to look on my life and I started to think, man, like, wow, I guess, you know, like I accepted it, by the way. I accepted it. Like, I was like, okay, like, you know, Ken and Lisa, they probably don't.
You have a hot ass girlfriend and you've accepted having her. I would fucking lose it if my husband was like, yeah, I've accepted being with you for the rest of my life. I've accepted it. Like, could you imagine?
Have sex all the time. Like, this is probably how it is. Like, you know, you get in a relationship, like, for a long time, you just stop having sex. This is one of the things that happens. I hear it all the time. So I accepted it, you know. I got porn, I got whatever. I can just go crack one off in the bathroom, you know, like, be done with it. But there were so many other perks, you know, the building of the brand, the everything, you know, the image of it all, like you know, we did have each other's backs for sure, like, and that was nice. There was a safety to it, a big time safety to it, and stability.
Safety and stability are important in relationships, in my opinion, because you don't want to feel like the foundation of what you're doing in life is rocky. Like, the foundation of my life is my family. That's the foundation. I have nothing if I don't have them. If I don't have my daughter, if I don't have my husband, like, my life as I know it is not, it's not what it is. Like, if I had to know that if I knew that relationship was rocky, that would be the first thing I address.
That was all really great. But as I turned 40, I started to look at my life and it looked very bleak. I started to think my best years were behind me and I
has nothing to do with
Ariana.
Lose
my optimism in life and my drive.
All you things.
And I started to coming to terms that, like, I started to feel trapped. And
again,
I was like, I started to come to the realization that I started thinking, like, I don't need this house. I don't need this shit. Like, but I feel like I need to make a change. Like, I really need to make a change to feel alive again. To feel
really need
like,
to fuck up my life so I can feel
motivated,
something.
to feel optimistic again.
I want to say too, because his feelings aren't completely invalid. I had this feeling in the middle of COVID. It felt like everything was fucking Groundhog Day. We've all been there, especially if you had kids in the beginning of COVID and all of a sudden you're like homeschooling, you're attempting to grocery shop, you're cooking the same thing over and over again because the groceries are so limited when you go buy them. I remember looking at my husband going, I can't fucking do this every day. I can't do this every single day. Every day. Every day is the same thing. I get up, I help with school, I do my work, I help with lunch, I help her with work, I do work, we eat dinner, we go to bed, we watch the, whatever show we're watching at that moment, we get up the next morning and we do it all again. And weekends, there weren't any. I mean, it's all the same. Everything blends in. So, it was just Groundhog Day. And so I understand that feeling of like, I don't want every day of my life to be the exact same. The answer to that is not cheating on your girlfriend with one of her best friends.
And I could tell too, when I started to feel this way, because Ariana was like trying to plan trips and things for us. And I started thinking like, I don't want to like do that anymore. I don't want to.
Schwartz had said too that you had tried to break up with her a number of times and it wouldn't happen, or that at least you told him.
He talks about this for a long time, and his story changes.
Up with her multiple times, and that you weren't able to.
So when this whole Raquel thing came along, I was in a very dark place in my life, and
he was in a dark place. his girlfriend had lost her grandmother and her dog and had something else happen. But he was in a really dark place.
And it just happened at like the worst, I don't know, in a way now, like maybe hopefully I can look back, maybe best time ever, but like the worst time ever. Because
me lusting after another girl really happened at the most inconvenient time for me. But maybe it was for the best, you know? It reminds me very much of like Rachel Hollis being like, you know, I'm really sorry that I fucked over all of my followers. But it really, you know, if I had to go through that to learn what I went through, to learn what I learned, then it was all worth it. Well, of course, it's not your pain that you're using as currency. It's somebody else's. He's using Ariana's pain as currency for his better life. Isn't that sweet of him?
You know, I was in such a place just yearning for like a connection, and Raquel and I had become, you know, slowly, you know, especially after her and James broke up, like really, really good friends.
James, his best friend,
like,
who he helped pay for the
confiding in each
proposal.
other, a source of like strength, a source of like, you know, like
Raquel, a source of strength.
Two, let me tell you something as well, is that like when you're in a relationship where you don't have a connection and you're very different people, and like we go somewhere and she goes off with her friends, I go off with my friend.
Do you want to know how many parties I go to with my husband? Not as many lately, but when we would go to like, you know, a get together, a dinner, a barbecue, every single time, men, they gather around the TV, whatever sport's on. Women gather in the kitchen. As like stereotypical as that sounds, I don't remember a party unless I'm in a really like different situation. I'll like hang out with Tim for the sweetheart. Will you let the dogs in? Not right now. I don't. Sophia, baby, stop. I don't know. Other than like if there's a situation where it's like I don't know these people or whatever, I'll stick by my husband's side. But for the most part, it's like we're independent people. Like you're not her puppy and she's not yours. You're not like a connection, and a relationship does not mean you're tied at the hip. It means that you're secure enough and confident enough to where you want to partner with this person. You want to be in life with them, but you also are a better person independently for being with that person. Like that's my definition of a relationship is you choose to be together and live life together, but you also choose independent lives that respect each other, that allow you to also be the best person that you could be.
You know, and whatever, you know, there started to build resentment in the relationship. My confidence was zapped. I mean,
you problem.
My sexual your sexual experience with me would be equivalent to like, you know, a 19-year-old, maybe his second time. You know what I mean? Like,
again, that sounds like an intensely
mojo,
problem.
no game anymore, and I'm just saying. I'm just putting that.
He
out
sounds
there.
like he's the
whatever,
first person to ever.
What I'm saying is
that was
he's
the first person
reduced
to ever experience a
in
long-term
sense.
relationship.
And I'm not saying like that's just her fault or whatever. We just didn't have the intimacy. It was
and that happens in a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
But to answer Jackie's,
my husband and I have been through that, where it's like, God, when so much is going on, the ability to set aside time for that, because you need to like work up to it sometimes, or if it's been lacking for a minute, you need to really put effort into it. And unless somebody communicates that and then the other person acts on it, how are you supposed to know?
Question, because that's the little bit I know about it, is that Tom said last night that and I think
so this was recorded last
commendable
Thursday.
That you are sharing this even publicly, and not only for you and not only for whatever the situation is, but I think, I don't know how much you know about me, but my soapbox is mental health, you know, and I think that we have to remove the stigma about saying that we have issues in life. No, everybody's really happy to tell, you know, I got a bad back and I go to a chiropractor, or I need a root canal, but people don't talk about depression. People don't talk about nothing but respect for you. But to answer Jackie's question, so this is going on.
Yes.
In this is your experience. Are you sharing with her that you are trying to take your relationship in a different direction or end it?
I definitely started pulling away.
Started pulling away.
I don't want to say negative things about Ariana, but she can be at times like, look, I have my things. Don't get me wrong. I definitely have my things.
Listen.
And by the way, this is like, these are not excuses as to what I did. Like, what I did was completely wrong and totally fucked up. And that's,
I think, the only time he ever said that.
I just trying to give you guys like reasoning behind context, exactly.
It also.
She's like, I was like, I thought she was so awesome. Like, getting to know her, like, she's so kind. She's like smart. She's witty. She's fun. She's she's hot. She's down for it. Yeah, she's beautiful. And I was like, is that wrong? I remember I was sitting there and I was like, Schwartz, dude, like, even before we started filming, I was like,
oh no, Raquel. Is he really talking about Raquel, that she's energy. Smart?
Back to the podcast. Kenny.
So as like Raquel and I became really good friends. Like,
oh my God, he is.
And you know, she's single and Schwartz is single. Like, I was like, I thought she was so awesome. Like, getting to know her, like, she's so kind. She's like smart. She's
rewatch this season, and I want you to show me the parts where Rachel is kind and awesome. She's
witty. She's fun. She's hot. She's down for it. Yeah, she's beautiful. And I was like,
is that wrong?
I remember I was sitting there and I was like, Schwartz, dude, like, even before we started filming, I was like, dude, what do you think of Raquel, dude? She's freaking awesome. He's like, yeah, she's all right. I was like, dude,
he had just got divorced. Like, Schwartz had just got divorced. If I were to end my marriage today, the last thing I would want to do immediately is go find another man. Perhaps a good idea, especially if you're dealing with mental health problems and confidence issues and all kinds of sexual issues, clearly. Perhaps what you should do is fix your own self.
Idiot. Like, she's fucking amazing. Like, come on, dude. Like, and
she's not. We're like, talking about the same shit, right?
Like, were you pushing Schwartz and her together to like put up a boundary for you?
No. I don't
mean to like hide you. I mean like so that you would, if she was with Schwartz, then you wouldn't.
Were you cock blocking yourself?
Yeah, were you cock blocking yourself?
No. In my opinion, I was like,
I'm so confused.
Like, hey, like, if Schwartz and her start dating, then like we can all like hang out even more. You know what I'm saying? Like, we became really good friends, like really good friends. And I guess like Schwartz was just like, nah, I'm not into it. And I'm like, dude, okay, whatever.
I guess I'll hit it.
Like, because obviously I thought very highly of her.
Fucking clearly.
You know, when we finally, like, we were hanging out and just talking, like, we had hung out like 2 nights or whatever, like one night, and then like a couple nights later we hung out again, and like we literally talked till like the sun came up the first night with like my friend Brett. It was like the guy, like if you watch the show, it was the guys' night at the Mondrian.
We know.
And then it was like see you next Tuesday or whatever, and then we were back at my house and we was just like talking. I'm locked out of my house, and
this is why my husband and I are very good about like if you start to cross an emotional boundary with somebody else, that's when you have to understand, like, if you're starting to talk to them about your partner, a member of the sex that you're attracted to. So if I was talking to a guy about, like, oh, you know, Tim's just really, you know, he's just not there for me emotionally right now. The minute you start to do that, you're opening yourself up to an emotional affair. So you can be friends with the opposite gender in our home as much as you want. You just can't have that emotional connection that's deeper than the one that you have with your partner. That's it. You can't vent to that person about your partner and open up the ability to have a situation where they think that there's a door that's unlocked. You can't do that.
We just like,
yeah, here's a shovel, Tom. Just keep digging.
We kissed, like it was like magnetic. Like we were talking, moving like closer.
He talks like a 5-year-old is explaining like space. It's like, I see the sky, and then the sun comes up and it shines on me and we're connected. It's like a woman that have you never been attracted to a woman before? Do you not know how to control your urges when you're with a partner? Like, which we know he doesn't, but like this all, you're the fact that he doesn't have any self-awareness to realize that like all of this is going to happen again. This isn't because of you and Rachel and your connection.
Like, just like as we were talking, like as time went on, it's like we would just start talking closer and closer, and then all of a sudden it's just like we're like hissing, and it's like I felt something that I hadn't felt in so long. Like,
it's called lust. Lust. It's called lust.
Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly, Steph. Exactly. I don't want to blame or hurt Ariana, but OMG.
That was before.
So this is Howie Mandel's podcast, and his daughter's his co-host. Her phone just went off, and Tom's face is like he's so fucking annoyed that this woman would not turn off her phone. And my true feelings are, I think he's a misogynist pig. Like, pretend he did not cheat on Ariana. He didn't get with Rachel. I think throughout this entire show, all fucking seasons of it, he has screamed at women. He has physically, like, jumped into confrontations with women. He has continuously degraded women and their opinions and their stances on things. And like Ariana was offered a book, he pushed his way into it because he's the expert, not her. Like, he cannot fathom a world in which his opinion is not put on the highest level, or that a woman's opinion is put higher than his.
Sheena's wedding, though, right? So were you upset then? Because at Sheena's wedding, Tom then did make a move, and they did kiss. So you hooked up before.
Who's Sheena?
Sheena?
Howie knows nothing about it.
Don't worry about it.
Where you sat down...
Yes.
And said, I don't know that this is working, or...
I got to a point, I think it was like a year prior, that I kind of drew a line, because Ariana had like, look, she doesn't like when you do something wrong and you apologize. She thinks it means nothing, because if you do it again, then it's like you're not even really sorry.
I agree with that.
I say that too.
I love that. They're like, yeah, right. Because if you continue to do the same thing over and over again and you're apologizing, all you're doing is telling me that you're going to continue doing this and ask for forgiveness instead of changing the behavior.
It
makes fucking sense.
If you do it again.
Well, I'm saying like...
Oh, hold on. Let me rephrase this so you guys agree with me. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me show you why you're wrong and I'm right.
Nothing. She wants action, right?
Yeah. And I would acknowledge her feelings and respect them in the sense. So
the bar is so low. The bar is on the floor.
Like, okay, I know that
I acknowledged you're upset. You're welcome.
You. I'm sorry that bothers you. I didn't mean to offend you by coming home a little later tonight or whatever.
Yeah.
It's more like that. Like I'm sorry for you staying up and all that shit. Like, I didn't mean anything personal. It's not malicious or anything. Ariana would just never apologize, ever. Like, literally, you can count on like, and she has it's one of her biggest strengths. She doesn't give up in any kind of argument. And
it's interesting. You want to know who I've seen that quality from before? On Vanderpump Rules? Fucking Tom Sandoval.
Look, we got to a certain point where...
Have you ever heard him apologize for... His apology to Stassi was, well, I'm sorry for screaming at you at an event that you were hosting at my bar that you got okayed. But, like, I was really stressed out. And, like, you need to understand where I was coming from. Tell me again about how Ariana doesn't apologize.
I felt like we just weren't... She was just annoyed with me.
The whole world is, dear.
So here's what I'm getting.
I can be annoying, but just like annoyed with me. So
here's what I'm getting. What I'm getting is you were in this long-term relationship with this woman. The relationship, and this happens to a lot of people and happens to everybody, and it through no fault of either of you.
Totally fair.
You're growing apart. you know,
Right.
and
Can
one
happen.
person has different needs than the other person, and there's no
100%.
satisfaction. What I'm asking though is, knowing that you each know it internally, did you ever sit down and say, this isn't working? Because I watched Schwartz last, on the Andy Cohen
Watch
show.
What Happens Live.
Yeah. And he said that, you told him that you were trying a few times to like end it.
Yeah. So to sort of, yes, I had actually. And
So Schwartz said he tried to end it, and Tom's saying, yeah, I did try.
so after Raquel and I, kissed.
So after I cheated on her,
I felt this way or whatever, I got my ass into therapy immediately to try to figure out what the hell I'm gonna
commendable.
do. Like,
Commendable.
'cause
You
the
fucked
feelings were
around.
something very, very strong. Like, and those feelings that I had started to kind of like take over in a sense. Like logic, all that shit went out the window because I wasn't experienced that. I hadn't experienced that, and so. You stop, and especially like when you're in a situation where like, you're not happy in your life, and there's like work's negative, and all, like I was like neglecting my friends, like even though we weren't like physical, like
if he was neglecting his friends, how do you think he was treating his actual partner he was living with while he was having this affair that took over his life, by his own words?
really like that often or whatever, we still like would FaceTime and whatnot, talk all the time, and like all I could focus on was that. Like he said yesterday, like he was like, I felt like Raquel, which it kind of became that way, like later on.
An addiction, like heroin, is what he
Raquel
said.
almost was like a drug to Tom, and it was our relationship, our connection was healthy, but the environment that it created, the like lying, the like whatever sneaking around was very unhealthy. Like, having to like.
My relationship with my mistress, because of the fact that I'm in a long-term relationship with somebody else that's committed, it's just made my relationship with my mistress really unhealthy, and I really need to go to therapy to work on how to have a better relationship with the woman that I'm cheating with, not the woman I'm cheating on. You just can't. I can't. Who talked to him about this fucking interview? I really need to work on my relationship with my mistress.
Like, but it's like time was always fleeting. Every time we were around each other, it felt like it'd be the last time we see each other. And it just made us both like obsessive over like trying to see each other and stuff. But yes, to answer your question, like when that went down in Cancun, Schwartz didn't know about that. And what that was all about in that situation is that Schwartz and Raquel had not done anything, but it had been crucified like they were in a full-blown relationship by Katie and Lala. Bullied, crucified. Katie had Christina, brought in Christina Kelly.
She was still married to the guy.
Mom, all this stuff.
Their relationship, their divorce wasn't final. And
She's
she's asking her ex-husband and her friend group, hey, can you guys just we're all in this together. They're all on a show together. Let's not pretend like we don't know that fact. Can you just not sleep with people here? Now, maybe that's unreasonable for Katie given the history of Vanderpump Rules, or maybe she thought, we're all also adults now. We're not 20 years old like we were, 22 or whatever, like we were when we first started this. I don't think it's incredibly unreasonable for her to be like, hey, can we have some healthy boundaries? Understanding that all of the people in this agreed to that. And then they were like, no, we're going to go back on that. And then make Katie seem like she's fucking crazy for ever expecting us to go along with it.
She's looking at me what is going on?
But Katie and Lala are the crazy ones. Got it.
Hang on. I get it. Keep going.
And then, they're sitting there at Sheena's wedding at the white party, and you got, these 3 girls up top wearing all black, looking over everybody, being all judgy, and,
The man who had an affair is judging what women are wearing to a white party and where they're sitting and how they're looking down on people. The self-awareness. How dare you guys sit at that table and see what's going on and then talk about how you're not happy with X, Y, and Z while he's full on having an affair. Full on having an affair. they were being judgy, but the whole fucking show is judgy. That's the other issue, is like, don't crucify them for doing what everybody else does. Everybody else does.
They're just like, you know what? Fuck this. If you're going to treat us like we've been in a relationship, like, you know what I mean? Like, sure, it was more of a rebellious thing.
Is it? Was it?
You weren't upset at that point, though, because you knew you had a magnetic connection with Raquel, and then you see her go and kiss your friend?
Well, Schwartz kissed her.
But you had kissed her previously, you said.
Yes.
So seeing that Schwartz and her kiss, that didn't upset you at all?
I mean, like, I was a little jealous, like, a little bit, but, like, I was not questioning, like, our connection, and I was
Feels like the fucking Bachelor, like, or the Bachelorette, I guess. Rachel's like holding one rose, and she's like, I may only give this rose to one Tom. Schwartz, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to let you go home.
Proud of them for like kind of like saying.
This is what reality
is
TV, being on TV, does to your fucking head.
Then in August, because you saw that they had kissed.
No.
Sorry, my dad is so lost right now.
When we got back, Schwartz was always like, I asked him if he was like, he said he had no intention of like, you know, he kind of was like, dude, and I'm like, all right, he's like, no,
then
I
I'm
just
gonna go
literally
for it.
wanted to just have fun, and like, it was meant nothing.
So
like,
I'm going to recap as the ignorant person here.
So then I told him what had
Can I
happened in the
recap
past.
as the ignorant person here?
Told him.
Because I'm just discerning it for my.
I don't need Howie's recap. I know what happened.
Even just a kiss is like taking crack for the first time. You know what I mean? It creates a high. It's like a respite in your life, but you're not really chasing it. And then your friend. Oh, so this all happened on the porch.
Our back.
Yeah, I don't know about their house.
Were you trying to hold back from repeating that or going down that road?
Yeah. Yes, I was. We both were. Just got me to really sort of throw everything like off to the side.
I get so we're humans
logically.
and it's emotion. All right.
And,
so you do that and you're nuts. You're like, you go, but you didn't want to, were you trying to hold back from repeating that or going down that road?
Yeah. Yes, I was.
So you're trying to not
we
to
both
be with
were.
Rachel.
It wasn't the easiest thing, and you know, at times,
I feel so bad
whatever.
for
I mean,
him.
but then as time went on, and yes,
how much
I did
time?
try to, like I got Ariana and
he can't explain.
into couples therapy. I'd been in therapy for a few months. And I come to the conclusion, like, I already knew, like, in my heart that this was not right, that this didn't feel right, that we both deserved better, in a sense.
Right.
In a sense.
We both deserve to be happy, to have our needs, like, you know, met.
Yeah.
And
which is
so I got us
why
in
you
couples
have
therapy. I didn't tell this to Ariana. I didn't disclose this because you know, to her and to us, like, we had planned to spend the rest of our lives with each other, you know? Marriage or not. And I knew that this would be a really hard thing for her to accept. It was a very hard thing for me to accept. And so I got us into couples therapy, and we met together.
The credit he takes for all of this. I got us into couples therapy to help us because I had an affair and was lusting after somebody else that I couldn't have because I was in this relationship.
And I started to kind of like slowly just sort of like plant the seed, like a little bit like, hey, I'm having doubts, I'm doing that. But I wanted to be there with a therapist because in the past when I've tried to bring things up like this to Ariana, she shuts it down, you know, and just like kind of like metaphor.
You don't go to couples counseling to break up with somebody, which is what he goes into how he brought in this couples counselor so that he could break up with her in therapy. That's not what therapy is for. You don't look at your partner and go, I really see a deterioration in our relationship. I think it's time for couples therapy so that we can really end it. You go to couples therapy. My husband and I have been in it. You go to couples therapy because there's either maintenance or, hey, there's an issue that I'm kind of having, and I want to figure out a way that I can deal with that with you. I want to go through this with you. I want to, like, figure this out.
He flips the Monopoly board over and walks away. You know, so I wanted to have a therapist there so we
the
could just
verbiage he uses about Ariana is so fucking telling. He is such he just demeans her with every opportunity. She just lays in bed. She never apologizes. She flips the Monopoly board every single time I tell her anything wrong. Like, it's so if that was how he was walking into these conversations, he's made up his mind. He found a shiny new object. I would bet he had zero fucking issue with how their relationship was prior to this, because he was making money, he was keeping the money, he had bought a house and mortgaged his half of the equity for a bar that he put up. Like, his life was going well prior to this. Has enough money to go on tour with some fake ass cover band that's horrible with like 11 people in it. Like, get the fuck out of here.
A mediator in a sense, or like somebody.
That's not what a counselor
you know
is.
what I mean?
A mediator is not a counselor.
And then we, went individually, and as we kept going, I kept more and more putting it out there. Hey, I'm really, and then like towards the later.
So this was all
sessions,
fucking calculated.
I was going through hypotheticals. It's like, well, hypothetically, like, if we break up, like, what would you do? And Ariana too was at this point like, I got a Coachella house. And she's like, I already said things about, like, even after our first session, she was like, it's a lot of money to spend if you want to break up with me. And she had heard things and seen things about Raquel, but was like very much turning a blind eye, or just
she had heard things,
trusting me,
or just trusting me. She had heard things about Raquel, but she was turning a blind eye. So it was her fault. It was her. You had an affair. People had come to her. She went to you and said, is this an issue? And you said, no, babe, we're in couples counseling because I love you. But she was turning a blind eye, or trusting me. Either way, it's really her fault.
But like,
I swear
just to tell you how distant we were, and how, like,
this part
at later part of our relationship, like, I was seeing Raquel as often as I could, which I know that sounds horrible.
Especially when you're trying to justify your behavior. Time.
And like, Ariana just like really didn't even notice, because that's just how separate our lives were. I had to actually tell her, like, I don't, like, have you not noticed how distant I've been lately? And she's like, oh, you have? She's just like normally when you're with somebody and somebody's having a bad day and they walk in the door, or they're like been so closed off or whatever, it's like, honey, like, are you okay? Like, you seem to be very closed off from me lately. Like, what's going on? But she didn't even notice.
It sounds like she did. She talked to you and you said that she trusted you. So which one is it, dear? Is it that she talked to you and she trusted you, and so you guys had a conversation and she moved forward? Or is it that you didn't do that and you were just acting completely out of character and she didn't catch on? Because you've already given us the other answer.
That's just how our relationship was. Like, we had separate lives. And so
I'm just, for anybody who's not in a relationship, having a relationship does not negate your individual identity. And what he seems to be putting out there is we had our own individual identity, and like, we'd come home and be with each other, but then she wouldn't notice when I'm having a bad day or when I'm closed off. Like, you live separate. This may shock you guys. I don't actually take my husband to work, and he doesn't take me to work. We lead separate lives there.
When I said hypothetically, if we broke up, she basically was like, well,
he said towards the end,
definitely not going to the reunion. I'm quitting the show. Fuck the sandwich shop that she's supposed to open up with Katie. And we're selling the house. And I'm deleting all social media, and I'm moving away.
Okay.
Because it would completely upend her life.
Well, no. But because you guys didn't end up breaking up. But Tom said that you had told him that you had a plan. Was your plan still to break up with her after the reunion?
No, that was absolutely not my plan.
Okay.
Interesting.
He had mentioned.
Can we hear the plan?
Well, yeah. What was your plan then?
So my plan was actually to.
Where's the plan?
Just rolling up his sleeves. Get a load of this. Get a load of this. This was a really good plan.
Therapy. And I had basically I slowly sort of talked to her about it, and then I was like, well, she might get offended. So
she might get offended.
During this time too, Ariana like fully 180'd into this like beautiful, not saying 180, but like just became so accepting of me, like so much less judgmental. Like she said things like,
you were in counseling, you fucking crazy person.
Like, wow, you're right, I see your point. I'm like, what? You actually think I'm smart?
You went to therapy.
No one said that.
That's usually what happens, is like people make a switch.
But you're saying like she didn't notice how distant you were, like it was going apart. Do you think that at a certain point, you know, that's your perception that she didn't notice? Maybe she felt like you were drifting away because you were giving these hints. And because you did give these hints, and this is something you needed to do. I'm not judging you.
No,
but I'm saying
you can judge me all you want.
No, I don't want. But I'm not judging you. And you're human, and you're being incredibly open, and I appreciate that. But what I'm saying to you is, it's kind of like when she's made to realize, maybe through therapy or just her eyes are opening up and seeing that it is drifting away, and you've given these hints. Do you think that opened her up to go, wait, maybe I don't want this to end, and she changed? Like, it's not a negative that she opened up and started making you feel better and changing.
Especially when you
in therapy.
Started couples
Ultimately, it's the therapy should be fixing,
right,
or giving you a coping skill.
I had made it.
I hadn't quite gotten to the point where I thought she would change, negating the fact that I was trying to get out of a relationship with her, and this was my excuse in order to be with Rachel.
Like, pretty clear in therapy that, like, I wanted to, like, take the steps to break up, and then actually, like, Ariana, like, kind of just really started fighting for it, and I felt, like, so bad about it, because she was being so...
Because you dangled a fucking carrot.
Sweet and amazing, and just I wish, like, I mean, whoever gets that version of Ariana is going to be, like, the luckiest person. Like, she was just, I mean, Ariana is already an amazing person, but that version of Ariana was just...
So multiple times they've asked, but you didn't break up with her. And he's like, well, this is my plan, and this is what I was hoping, but then she changed. And he's giving a lot of excuses, right? Like, this is him in conversation. You can tell. Like, he's going, well, yeah, but, like, here's what happened. Well, no, I understand, but, like, here... he's going to flip the script in a minute when he goes, oh, no, I did break up with her. Oh, no, we did break up. Wait for it.
Phenomenal. And I just wish I wasn't already, I was already by that point gone. way gone. And so I actually did break up with her on Valentine's Day.
It's good. You got to pick important. Is that a plan?
I don't know if that tells you anything about the character of this fucking crazy person.
No, that was your plan?
I gotta say that Valentine's Day,
the second night of Passover. But to me, that was a very well-known saying, I think.
Yeah.
The fact that
doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yeah, whatever.
He goes, so then what you're saying is the future? No, I'm saying that hindsight is 2020. That
they're talking about the TMZ.
He's saying now.
Do therapy. You're not sure if you want to stay in it. Then you could drag it out as long as you want.
But he knew he wanted to get out. That's why he said he was in therapy to get out.
But you get out before you
He's not married.
Have an affair with someone else.
He's not married. Please don't interrupt us. We are having an argument.
How is she saying, okay, but wouldn't you want to break up with them before you start having an affair? And Howie's response is, well, he's not married. But he had just said, no, we were in it for life. We were life partners. Me and Ariana, marriage or not, we were life partners.
All right. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, but that's what I would think. Like, yes, it happened. Yes, hindsight's 2020. But I would think now, looking back, the right time to get out would be you were gonna get backlash anyways, just because she was your girlfriend's friend.
If he really wanted to get out, he would have gotten out. Right. What's easier? Living in the home that you own with the partner that you're trying to, that you're not on great terms with at the moment, and having your cake, your stable relationship with the reality show that you've built around it and the brands that you've built around it, the equity that you've pulled from the home that you own with this partner, keeping all of that together and having an affair on the side? Is that better for you? than crumbling your entire world and friendships as you know them. Obviously,
ex-fiance, like you're going to get backlash anyways, right?
Yeah.
But
like
getting out of it for him, from what I
it is a monumental task. This is
that's what I'm saying.
Relationship
It's not even a wife. It's not even a girlfriend. It's a girlfriend. It's a partner. It's a brand. You're in business together.
On a reality show.
You're on a reality show together, and you live in the same house.
Yeah.
That you both are you partners in the house?
Yes.
Are you still in the house?
Yeah, it's actually been really pretty calm lately.
Because she's
on
filming
everything in the house.
Show.
But yeah, it's like
He said he runs everything in the house because his assistant stocks the fridge. Get the fuck out of here. You don't. Well, like I handle the house. Well, my assistant comes in and does the housekeeping. Like I handle the gardener. Oh, sweetheart, did you schedule somebody once? Thank you for running the house.
it's been okay. Like we're not, initially it wasn't great, but
you're doing other things. I think you're gonna. Do you find? I find it crazy unfair the how big this has gotten.
I don't find any of it
For
unfair.
a single young man who was in a relationship that for
I don't get
people
it.
are listening to you today, and I think that's the key. I think
Yeah,
the
you're
narrative
communicating.
is everybody else's narrative but yours. I'm not condoning
No, hell no.
cheating on a partner, cheating on I don't condone that at all. You're not condoning that.
Yeah.
You're being just honest of where you are, and I think people have to have some empathy and compassion for human beings because
We
every
do.
single
For
one of us
Ariana-
makes mistakes. And I don't understand the vitriol and the hatred and the attacks.
I'll explain it to you, Howie. Come in close. He's done this to women the entire time he's been on the show. And now a lot of people are opening their eyes and going, holy shit, it wasn't just Ariana. Like, he's gaslit a lot of people, including viewers to some extent, about the circumstances of fights that he's gotten in on the show. He has created this narrative around his presence that is, I am the good guy. I'm the stable one in this group. He talks about how him and Ariana were called mom and dad, probably by fucking Rachel, by the way, which is fucking bananas. But he wanted so badly to retain this image, and then he fucked it up.
That people are putting upon you and even others in
and
it's really hard.
dude,
And
there's only 3 people involved in it. Me, Ariana, and Raquel. Like that's it.
What about all the people? We know what's going to happen on this season, which is, it's because it's been teased out. Someone's going to bring up this rumor at some point that he was with Raquel, or that there was some kind of an affair going on. And what I'm interested to see at that point is when he says, oh, absolutely not. No, honey, no, I wouldn't do that. When that happens, what his response is to people around him, to Lala, to Katie, to whomever it is around him, that'll tell us. That'll tell us. By the way, if you remember in the last episode, Sandoval and Schwartz, they have their bar that they have open, Schwartz and Sandy's, and they're doing a tasting menu. And Tom Schwartz brings his ex-wife Katie to the tasting because he's trying to maintain this friendship with her. Now, you can disagree with that or agree with it, fine. Sandoval gets upset and says, I don't want her around us anymore. I don't want her coming to any tastings. So he's telling Tom Schwartz who he can and can't have in his life. This guy, though, gets to maintain as many fucking relationships as he wants, sexual or otherwise.
There's just really and mainly just Ariana and I, I mean, there's two things that happen here.
He's saying that the relationship breakup and the affair are not the same thing. He's trying to build this out as, we were going to break up, but I also had an affair. So that the affair was not the catalyst for the breakup. He's really trying to separate those two out. I have not heard one piece of information in any of this that at all supports that theory. It sounds like he was immediately attracted to Rachel once she became available. And from that decided that Ariana was no longer the person he wanted to be with. There was a catalyst here because I haven't heard any conversation about him attempting to fix anything. Like, there wasn't a problem a year ago that you decided to go into couples counseling for. You said that it's been this way for a while, but you were happy with it. It was your 40th birthday. When is, let me see. Hold on. I'm going to investigative reporting. When is Tom Sandoval's birthday? July 9th. Interesting. Guys' night where he hooked up with Rachel was August. So that seems like a real... He started to think when he turned 40, getting introspective, immediately then has a guys' night with his friends, and then hooks up with his close girlfriend who stays at their house sometimes.
I know her, and I know myself, because was in this with her, is the ending of the relationship. And that's also the most painful thing for our friends.
He says that the most painful thing for Ariana was the ending of the relationship. I think it's bold of him to assume that he knows what the most painful thing for Ariana was.
Referred to as mom and dad. Like we took people, like people
Rachel
stayed at our house, and like we took care of our friends, you know?
Real good care.
Of my friends. Like
real good care.
And like people are grouping the breakup and the affair together, and they're...
You know what else is interesting? He says that Ariana never noticed anything. Like, she didn't even notice. Well, what about when she asked you about when you took the water to Rachel when she was staying in your guest house at 4 a.m.? Or asked you about what was going on with Rachel because she had seen other stuff independent of that. Like, so she noticed enough to ask you, and you felt confident enough to lie and not say, like, listen, I'm sorry. Like, I'm in love with this person. I didn't know how to tell you. No. You wanted to keep up the facade. Or else it would have been, any time that she asked you, it would have been absolutely okay for you to say, no, you're right. Like, I have been trying to figure out a way to tell you that, like, this is over and I'm really sorry. No. You said, no, don't worry about it, babe. No, they're lying.
Picking it up.
No, I agree. As fun as it is to make fun of Rachel, it's still 1000% Tom's fault. Rachel's dumb, but Tom's a villain. I don't disagree. The only extent, I feel like I've been pretty good about that, but I don't personally find Rachel likable on TV. I think she's either diabolical in the way that she attempts to like dumb herself down and then come back with a comeback, but she doesn't really do that well. So I wonder if she's just young and impressionable, which sounds like the avenue that her PR was trying to take originally too. But I don't know. I agree with you, but I still think that she does hold some fault to the extent she had any loyalty to Ariana, Sheena, any of the people that were in this friend group.
Not on me, and I understand that.
Well, the affair and the breakup is, I mean, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, right?
The breakup was an inevitable thing. I don't know if it would have quite happened.
If I asked Ariana if she was sitting here today, would she have when? I do understand a couple of things. She found like her moment was she found some stuff on your phone, right?
Yes.
Okay. Before she found the stuff on your phone, she would have considered you guys still in a relationship, and maybe a relationship that could have been mended, right? Because she was going in a different direction than you.
I couples counseling?
Had already broken up with her 2 weeks earlier, and I told her, I said, listen, we don't have to post anything on social media. Like, let's talk through this. Like, I understand. Like, we were on hold for, like, a big job, too. Like, and to...
See, this story comes about, like, 40 minutes into the interview that he had broken up with her. Don't you think he would have led with that? Because at what point... Do you just... No. We were broken up. You guys, I know that this sounds... Like, doesn't your PR people come out immediately and say, listen, I know this story, this whole Ariana finding it on his phone and all of that sounds really bad, but, like, we were already broken up. Like, I get that you guys haven't seen that yet because it hasn't aired and this is something that just happened recently, but we were broken up. Is that not what you lead with when you're accused of an affair? In this situation, you're leading with, like... No, what I did was wrong. This was really, really wrong. It was really, really bad. It was really, really wrong. There's no excuse for my behavior. But we had already broken up. Like, that's not how you end that argument. You start out with, we were done. And, like, yeah, I fucked around and, like, got with our friend. I shouldn't have done that. But don't worry, because we were broken up.
Like, for, mixology, like, together. And so it's like... We can like keep this like between us, like we always have kept stuff between us, and figure out a way to navigate this that like helps us both out, makes it easier. And so I was like, we'll talk, obviously she was very upset. I mean, she freaking punched me and all
Interesting that he throws that tidbit in.
shit, and like, and then like, you know, but after she calmed down, we started talking, and then a couple days later, I sit down to talk with her again, and she's like, I'm like not letting you leave me. You're gonna have to force me out of this relationship. And I was like, Ariana, like, I was even like, I don't think I could be faithful in a relationship with you right now.
I don't think
like,
I could.
saying all these things. I hadn't told her about Raquel yet.
Or ever.
But I, you know, I did. I was like, she's like, if you break up with me, you will effectively be ending my life. And I was like, I didn't, and I just was like, I didn't know what to do. She was just completely in denial and not accepting it. And
so you went and fucked her friend
2
again.
weeks later, I mean, I went to Miami the following weekend. Didn't even tell her where I was going. Went to a food and wine festival. Like, she could have came. I didn't invite her and said I invited like Jason. And like, it's just us and a bunch of guys. And she didn't even know when I was coming back. Didn't call me, didn't talk to me the entire time. Like,
so you mean she trusted you and let you go off on your own because it sounds like you were going through something and you needed space? What a horrible person. It's just interesting that the things that he's picking up on that are so like mundane and attempting to make her seem like she's so like she didn't even check up on me. Okay, my husband goes to golf tournaments all the time. I'm not, well, sometimes I do. When are you going to come home, dude? I need dinner. Like, what are you doing? But, like, I'm not calling him and being like, well, what time are you getting home? What are you doing? Who are you with? Oh, you're not going to invite me? Like, you're a grown-ass adult. Go where you want. Just don't fucking hurt me. I don't ask for a lot. I don't think he means Jax.
that's not somebody who's in a relationship. You go with your boys to Miami and
like
not
his viewpoints are either, if he's not lying, he needs serious help. This is not like his version of a healthy relationship is so beyond fucking like he wants like a high school romance. He wants like a love story by Taylor Swift. He wants fire and ice and like diabolical and high highs and low lows. He wants like shit that you see in movies. He wants that like intense desire 100% of the time, or else like maybe I'm gonna cheat on you and it's your fault because you didn't give it to me.
with your girl. Like, let's be real. It's because we weren't in a relationship. So I did tell her I was landing.
According to you.
And I didn't even come home until like, 2 in the morning, like that night. Like,
You landed and then you came home at 2.
she didn't say anything at all. And the night in question, I mean,
If there's nothing to say, like, you landed and then you came home at 2 a.m. What if you went out after you landed? Who the fuck cares? How is this an issue? Oh, hi, dear. I'm on live. It's okay. You want to listen? Can you listen to this real quick? Will you be on my live for 1 second?
Okay.
Okay. I'm getting my husband's take. Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Okay.
and she didn't even know when I was coming. I'm
was just
like
talking about
not
you.
letting you leave me.
So he's
You're
saying
gonna have
now
to force me out of this
that
relationship.
he broke up with Ariana 2 weeks beforehand. And she told him she was going to hurt herself if he left. And then she said, I'm not even going to let you leave. I'm not going to let you leave. And then he goes out. This is his explanation.
And I was like, Ariana, like, I was even like, I don't think I could be faithful in a relationship with you right now. I like was saying all these things. I hadn't told her about
I've already been
Raquel
sleeping with
yet.
your best friend.
But I did. I was like, she's like, if you break up with me, you will.
Okay.
I didn't know.
Okay.
Didn't even tell her.
Okay, so
denial and not accepting it. And so 2 weeks later, I mean, I went to Miami the following weekend. Didn't even tell her where I was going. Went to a food and wine festival.
Okay. Didn't even tell her where he was going. Red flag or no? I don't think he goes to Miami. Doesn't tell her where he's going. You went to a food and wine festival.
Like, she could have came. I didn't invite her and said I invited like Jason. And like, it's just us and a bunch of guys.
Red flag that she's not invited? When he's on a guy's trip? Food and wine festival in Miami?
What is a red flag?
Exactly my point. Is it a red flag?
No.
And she didn't even know when I was coming back. Didn't call me, didn't talk to me the entire time.
Is that a red flag to you?
Like, that's not somebody who's in a relationship. You can't go with your boys to Miami
exactly.
and check in with your girl. Like,
exactly. Do you see?
I'm gonna go on a guy's trip.
No, you can't pull this shit with me. You're gonna have to answer my phone calls.
No, but I mean,
right? Exactly.
Why would she go?
Why would she go? And if she knows you're going to be on a guy's trip, why would she have an issue?
No.
That's not somebody that's in a relationship. And that
You're a fucking idiot. Fucking idiot.
Truer words never spoken.
let's be real.
Love you.
It's because we weren't in a relationship. So I did tell her I was landing.
Thank you, baby.
But then I didn't even come home until like, 2 in the morning, like that night. Like, and she didn't say anything at all. And the night in question, I mean, she knew, like, we weren't kissing or nothing like that. Nothing was happening. Like, and we were at Tom Tom for this event, and we've never been PDA unless it's like for a photo or for press or whatever.
He's such a diabolical person.
She, like, in front of all these fans, she, like, grabs me and knows that I'm not going to push her away in front of people, and she
You know who he reminds me of? Cody from Sister Wives. He can spin these narratives in his head, and I only really know that show because of fucking TikTok, but like spin these narratives in his head to come up with the conclusion that he wants.
This is me. Like, and then, and then I perform, my phone falls out of the pocket, she sees it, and like, obviously.
So the kiss at Tom Tom was just complete performance by Ariana. Did she foresee that your phone was going to fall out of your pocket and she was going to catch you that night cheating even though you guys were broken up? Like, I don't understand how that makes sense.
Is the most probably upset and angry I've ever seen her. But
shocking.
I think she went through my phone just to see if like I'd done anything had happened with somebody in like Miami. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But like
Miami girl.
We were broken up. She knew we were broken up. Like,
then why wasn't that your lead story?
We didn't tell anybody, but she knew. And
she has really close friends. She didn't tell anyone.
Trying to like convince me not to do that, like not to be broken up or like get
which makes it sound like they weren't actually broken up.
That was not the case, and I was not giving. She asked me that day as we were leaving about like, because we had talked about fertilizing eggs, which I never did, and she was like, "So, what do you think about getting a sperm check to fertilize my eggs?" And I'm like, "What?"
I wonder if any of this stuff is true. I wonder if in Ariana's head, what she saw was we were going to counseling. I had made changes. I'd seen some, me speaking as Ariana, I'd seen some changes that I needed to make in myself, and I chose to make those. And our relationship was going really good. Tom seemed really happy because he was getting fucked on the side by his mistress. She didn't know that. But like, our relationship seemed to be going really well. We would have these hard conversations, then we get through them, and I'd sit him down and be like, no, I don't want to break up with you. Like, I think we can work on this. If it's something that you want, like, let's work on like having a baby. You know what I mean? I wonder if in her head it's like things were on the up. I want to make this better.
I'm like, we're broken up. Like, what?
Again, that would have been your lead story.
We'll
if that
talk
was true.
about this later. I gotta go to my show, whatever. Like, it just was like fully in denial, and it scared me. It really scared me. That's why I didn't like. You say like, why didn't you just break up with her then? It's because of the threat of self-sabotaging, and you know how much that hurts me, because like
she threatened self-harm. Do you know how much that hurts me? Listen to how fast he gets there. How fast?
I'm like fully in denial, and it scared me. It really scared me. That's why I didn't like. You say like, why didn't you just break up with her then? It's because of the threat of
self-harm,
the threat of self-sabotaging, and you know how much that hurts me.
Less than 5 seconds.
Because like, she's been on the show for 9 years, building all of this. We built all this together, and you're just gonna throw that away. Also, you haven't had to like deal with any real.
What if you're gonna break up with her anyway, and you're in a full ass other relationship? What does the show have to do with you? What is her? I thought you guys were living independent lives. Why is your worth tied so much to her choosing to film another season on Vanderpump Rules if you wanted to be apart from her anyway? I'm confused. You said you were going to break up with her. Why does she have to sign back on to Vanderpump Rules for you if you aren't together?
Drama on the show for years. So now shit hits the fan, like, with you, and like, then you quit the show. Like, I'm like, that's not fair. I even said that to her in therapy. I was like, that's not fair for you to quit the show. Tom and Katie went through a divorce, you know, like.
I don't know if you realize this, Tom, but every person, independent, they can all make choices for themselves. You made a choice to fuck her over on your own by sleeping with one of her best friends, but it's not fair for her to make a decision to discontinue being on a show if it becomes a hurtful environment for her. Like, it's actually kind of scary how, like, how
James and Raquel went through a breakup on
Rachel.
On the reunion, but like, we break up and you're just like, no, I quit.
Which
Like, I'm like, that's
she
fucked
can
up. That's
fucking-
not fair to everybody else. And that's one of the reasons why I brought up our issues on camera. I called our showrunner Jeremiah to hold myself accountable, because I was
Yourself
like, dude, this
or
is
Ariana?
not fair. I see all these people going through things. All these people are putting themselves out there, and we're not. We're not. And
I had an affair with Rachel, and I'm seeing all of these other people having problems with them. You know, I want our problems aired on TV so that people can maybe pick a side. Maybe it's Tom's. And then maybe next season he gets with Rachel like Tom Schwartz did. He's already laid the groundwork for it.
it's not fair. You know what I mean? It's not fair. So I called him, and so that's why, like, you know, that's why it started to come to light on the show.
Did you, any of the communications that you had with Ariana about breaking up or saying that it's not, did you do that on text?
No.
Never.
I would never text things like that. That's crazy.
So
I would never text a picture or video of Rachel doing that. No, I would only save it on my phone, screen record it and save it on my phone to a place where I could look at it later.
and that this is such a bigger deal because there's been infidelity in the past.
I know.
I mean, there's a lot of shitty things that happen in the news. All friends. I mean, I'm more of the social person, so I'm the person that shows up to your birthday party or shows
Right.
up to your comedy show.
You're the number one guy in the group.
No, shut up. Definitely not. But like, between Ariana and I'm the one that shows up and represents both of us a lot of times, just because I'm, you know,
I'm
but
picking somebody to represent me. It's
there
not
are-
Tom Sandoval.
really good friends of mine that have like used this scenario and obviously, I mean, I've been so down. I mean, I've had some really dark thoughts. I'm doing better now. I actually haven't.
I hope you are.
I've gone like 4 days without drinking now, which is like, I don't know the last time I've done that. Like, it's probably been years. I'm trying to handle this in a healthy way because I was
That'll be a
drinking
first.
to like handle it, and it's not good. It's a dark road, and
Which you
so-
created. You paved the road.
but what's
yourself.
hurt is that people I've known for so long are have taken this opportunity to like bring out like skeletons out of the closet from like 7-8 years ago, and I'm just like, dude, like, why would you do that? Why would you try to kick me while I'm down?
Didn't he do that to Lala last year at the reunion? Or is that not the same because he did it? It must not be the same because he did it. Because what he does is okay, justifiable, rational, context is needed. But what other people do, bad, not okay, unkind.
Also using this to make it seem like everything I've done for them, like all the favors, all the times I've
Yes.
stuck by them when nobody else would, to just like make that out to be like that I'm a narcissist and that was all just so I could look good, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that you're taking the past, like what I did being like with this affair, and you're erasing the last like 12, 15 years of our friendship. Like it really fucking kills. And then also using all these things to like as content for their podcasts, like, you know, like fellow cast members, like ask me all these questions, like ask me questions. It's like, you don't want to know because you care about Ariana. You want to know so you have more content for your podcast.
Isn't that what he was doing by calling the fucking producer for the show to air out their dirty laundry so that the producer could air it on TV? How is that not the same thing? How is you calling your producer when you and Ariana were having private disagreements about your relationship to air it out on TV not the same thing as your friends going, no, I'm Team Ariana and here's why. Here's how she's doing. She gave me the green light to discuss this. That's what Kristen said. I think Sheena said it. Lala said it. Stassi did like one podcast about the whole situation. She's like, it's all over. I can't like avoid it.
And it's like, it's disgusting to me. It's so gross. Like,
yeah. Like fucking your.
I'm like, what? Like, who are you?
Long-term partner's best friend.
I mean, because it's like you're like, oh, like
who
really
are
seeing
you?
who you are as a person. I'm like, no, I'm really seeing who you are as a person. Because you're not somebody who gives a flying fuck about Ariana. You're just doing this for your own.
Because he's the protector of Ariana's heart. He's the one who's really had her best interests at heart this entire time. He's the one that's really been with her through all of this to make sure she's okay. It's really been him. It's so hard to even attempt the mental gymnastics to get into his rationale of thought.
Personal gain. I have friends that I'm better friends with than Ariana, which is fine. Like, I'm not saying like you need to be on my side at all, but they like don't even hit me up. They like try to understand. Like, I'm not saying like nothing is excusable. Like for what I did, I handled shit wrong. I fucked up, and you know I definitely deserve the hate. But like for these close friends to not even shoot me a text and just go right to social media and just start like posting things like, was I a pawn in this whole game? Like just like adding drama, you know? It's just like,
well, you're in you're in that industry.
Sad.
That's what
Right.
reality TV is.
You signed up for it. It wouldn't.
You say these.
To quote you to yourself, Tom, it wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be fair to not air this stuff out. That's what this is. You guys all signed up for it. It wouldn't be fair.
Are good friends, you know. Ultimately in life, and I'll tell you this as a much older person than you, sure you find out who your friends are now when shit happens, not when things are great. When things are great, there's a lot of people that will hang out with you and you'll have fun with and you'll work with and you'll play with and you go, these are my friends and this is my friend so-and-so. But when shit hits the fan, the people that are left, the people that are supporting you, the people that are there for you are your friends. The other people are just people
Rachel
that are in your
and
life.
Tom Schwartz, dude.
So
enjoy them.
I know that you have good friends. I got to be honest with you. I'm really close to Kimmy because she works here and Jason. And I will tell you that if I wish I had friends like Jason. You know, Jason is a really good guy who really cares.
Jason's married to Kimmy, and we know that because Tom talked about going to their wedding, and this is apparently the tie that Howie Mandel has to Tom Sandoval. You invited Jason to Miami and went on a guy's trip with him. So is his relationship fucked too? Because he left, and he didn't invite his wife to this food and wine festival.
About you.
I know he does.
And so does Kimmy. And I mean, they came in today and they were concerned for your well-being, not for this show. I mean,
yeah.
He doesn't need help kicking himself. He knows what he did wrong.
It doesn't sound like it.
Probably they'll both be. Ariana and you will be better people for this. You know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You know?
Like radiation. I'm just kidding. It's a bad joke.
Yeah, it was a bad joke.
I've seen Sheena. I've seen Lala. I've seen Jax. I've seen Kristen come on every single podcast and give their opinion. Is there anything else, now that you're here and you're talking, that you want to clear up that was misinformation?
I just, I don't know. I can't really think of anything offhand. I just, you know, there's a lot of people saying I know for a fact that this happened because somebody told me. And it's like, that's not you knowing for a fact. You know what I mean? Like,
well, the truth of the matter is, you've said it a couple times in this interview. This is 3 people. Those are really the only 3 people you need to hear from.
Yeah.
And then why does the whole Vanderpump cast have, like, why does Ariana owe it to all of them to stay on the show if it's just those 3 people that matter? Well, and the therapist.
As a listener, can draw what conclusion you want and feel how you want. That's why I was asking you. I
was wondering. Kermit 1319 says, like radiation, as someone who has to have radiation, fuck this guy. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Opened up this interview by saying,
I don't have to have radiation, but I can imagine that hearing him joke about that
Andy
right now.
Cohen's show. How did you feel about how he handled it and all his answers?
I love Schwartz, and
yeah.
I think,
and he's the only one that sticks by me.
Smart guy, and I really value his perspective. So I think he handled himself great. I think
he did. He was being kind of attacked for.
He called his ex-wife a monster multiple times. Here's what I want to know. There's 700 of you here right now. I want to know, because I've been with my husband for 20 years. Is this really what guys out there are like? Because unlike Tom, I've been faithful in my relationship, so I'm not certain what guys out there are like. Is this really the dating pool? Is like the Schwartzes and the Sandovals? Is this it? I sure hope not. Yes, 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 yes. I hope not. Yes, 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 yes. Unfortunately. Yeah. Oh my God. You guys. Oh my God. I'm not seeing any no's. Jesus Christ.
Of course he was. And I'll tell you, you're right. There's 3 people in this situation. And I'll just tell you that, at times, with this whole situation, I have never felt the fight or flight that I've felt in this situation. Like, I'm telling you, like, I was literally on the run, like I was wanted for like a triple homicide. I didn't shower for days, in the same clothes for days.
I made this point before. I haven't made it in this live, but you don't get, in my opinion, like, I take this platform with what it is, right? I don't get a lot out of it, like, monetarily. It doesn't, like, it's funny when, like, a kid comes over to play with Sophia and they'll bring up TikTok and I'm like, kind of a big deal. And I, like, that's literally all I get out of it. But that's okay, because this is a small social media platform. But what he receives from this show, the endorsements, the money, the opportunities, he and his brand have sold the ability to partner with them to open up a fucking bar twice. So it's just bananas when they come to, they do these interviews and I hear them say, it's just the vitriol and the hate. It's like, okay, well, you have to take the good with the bad. This is it. It's not reality TV for all of the good, but none of the bad. When you fuck up on reality TV, when you make an error, people are going to call you out, just like they're going to, just like you have called out Stassi and Lala and Kristen and Jax and who else? James Kennedy, Ariana, your own freaking partner. You've called out all of these other people and allowed them to get hate for what they've done in the past. Why are you any different?
Didn't have like my medication, like literally just like dodging paparazzi. I've been so defensive. It did at times turn me into a total asshole. And I feel bad about that because I was just like very defensive and not open. I'm finally starting to like my guards, you know what I mean? Like, so I'll say that because of that, I have not felt like totally safe revealing everything. And obviously Ariana still, I mean, she's probably not quite as upset as she was, but she's still probably very upset. So when I have people like Sheena and Lisa, and even like our producers asking questions about like, well, what happened here on like, August 24th and like this day, like, where are you in here? Like,
do you really want to know where I was August 24th? Do I really have to chart the constellations?
Like all these little details. Like, I don't owe that shit to them for like content or.
Okay. Ariana owes an entire new season for Vanderpump Rules. But you don't owe answering a question. I can't, for the life of me, figure out other than he thinks women are beneath him. And please, someone correct me if I'm wrong. But he's calling out everybody. All the women. Lisa, Sheena, some of the producers. Kristen, Lala, for going on these podcasts. But I'm not hearing him call out any men. Schwartz fucked him over on live TV, talking about how he had an affair, but then it was like heroin and all of that. But what he did was okay. That was okay. That wasn't for content. That's different.
To add salaciousness to our show, I have no problem telling at some point Ariana anything she wants to know.
At some point. So
but I'm not going to sit there and be interrogated by Lala or Sheena. Like
you interrogated her about her relationship?
You know what I mean? Like, it's not happening.
Oh, double standards.
Especially with their behavior lately. Like, just taking...
With their behavior lately. Oh my God, he is fucking Cody from Sister Wives. Your behavior is why I don't love you. Your behavior. You are the moral compass of this group. You are the moral compass of this group and determine who is on good standing or not based on their behavior according to your lens.
Little, like, they're like doing a whole podcast on like what's going to happen with the dogs and like stuff. Like, you know, that is not this.
But you guys are in the world of reality, and reality is content. So they're just taking advantage of the situation. But that's what they signed up to do.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, I'll listen on camera, off camera.
Fine.
If Ariana wants to know,
Howie just said that's what you signed up for, and he said, yeah, it's fine. A second ago, it wasn't okay.
Oh, what, like, any details, I'll fully go into that. But she's the only one that deserves that.
Do you feel like you're a different person now?
I feel like no, but
that's too bad.
In a way, yes. That's a loaded question. I'm really starting to like being like sober and stuff for like
4 days.
Just 4 days is like really started to open my eyes
in a good way.
In a really good way.
Have you thought about whether or not you'll go back to the show if you want to go back for next season?
I mean, at this point, you know, this scandal has obviously like shot our ratings way up. I mean, it would be.
I mean, honestly,
it's not going to be easy to go back and film. But
are you obligated to? Do you have a contract for the next?
I'm not obligated to, but
I'd be done. What
about the bars?
I've kept my distance because I don't want to
from the Prophet
create a negative. You know.
How do you keep your distance from a bar with your fucking... You got one bar with your first name, one bar with your last name. How do you keep your distance from that?
Negative environment, you know, and I don't want, obviously with the bar...
The distance isn't because you're touring with your horrible cover band?
It's like I'm a small part of a bigger
that was pre-scheduled
situation. Our employees and stuff, like they're the ones that I'm worried about.
Well, then just pay them.
You sound like you're turning over a whole new leaf in life.
Yes, I'm really trying to, and
he just said he hasn't really changed.
And I want to. If anything good can come out of this, is that I just learn and never get myself in this situation again. Learn, see the mistakes that I've made, stay in therapy. I mean,
name a mistake. You still haven't.
I felt like Adam Sandler's character in Uncut Gems. Like, it was not fun. It was anxiety.
Yeah.
It was like there was no thrill in like sneaking around, and it was not cool.
Well, you're very recognizable,
dude. I know. That's why you couldn't
shave your
anywhere.
Mustache off.
Yeah, you want to do it? Should we do it?
You do that?
Yeah. You want to do it?
We have razors. Do we have? Razors?
I brought one with me.
You just carry a razor?
Yeah, don't you?
No.
For your head, Dad?
For my head.
Yeah.
Should I go get it?
Yeah. Is there someone that could bring it in here? Jason, I see
Watch him shave his
and the
mustache.
band manager. So,
You want to do it? I had the stash for like, let's see, we're doing it? Or,
Tapping on this middle deck.
yeah.
Look at that. Unrecognized.
look, a great guest, but I think you've been incredibly helpful.
Okay, I'm done. Okay. Oh my God. So glad I'm old and married. I couldn't date these losers these days. Yeah, this was the best thing that could have happened to Ariana. Don't disagree. Wait a minute. Is Howie Mandel's daughter in here? I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Are you on here? Oh, can you come in? Would it be too much to ask if you like hopped in here? Is that too much to ask? You were amazing, and I could tell. Here's what I will say. Okay, my do not disturb is on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wish I don't even know how to do that. Here's what I will say. I could tell with you're heading with your, okay. Fair enough. You're heading out with your daughter. I should probably get to mine so it's spring break. I appreciate that your dad's opinions aren't your own. You did a great job. I could tell from where you were sitting. Every time he'd talk, it was like my expressions. Like, fine, he has his own opinion, fine. But, you did a great job. Because you were the one with like but like, you also went to therapy, and isn't that kind of what therapy's about? So you did great. Thank you. I'm going to follow you because I don't think I do. Perfect. Awesome. Maybe I'll DM you if that's cool. Maybe we could set up a time where you could talk. I don't know if that's too far, but it was very enlightening. I just can't believe that this is the dating pool. I just can't believe that this is the dating pool. I'm just flabbergasted that this is what you guys have. This is what you guys have. I wonder what my dad would think if my husband did. Oh my God, what a great question. Please follow me back so we can DM if that's okay. I won't share anything, but that would be really awesome if you don't mind, because I totally would love to pick your brain. My parents did this and my parents refused to speak. My husband did this and my parents refused to speak to him. I should have asked it. I mean, listen, the amount of times I've been in situations where I then look back and go, if only I would have said X, Y, and Z, like depositions or any other time with any other conversation. Completely get it. You need a part 2 where you just like sit down and go, here are my thoughts. Ask Tom. If you ask Tom for a round 2, can it be me instead of your dad? Because I would love to sit there with you. I'm in. I've got the training. I'm ready to take out some anger. So, anything else that you guys want to 888. Did Rachel have an affair with Brock? There's rumors out there, but I don't. Here's what I think. If there was actual information about that, I think that would have come out. I'm gonna have to get off because those dogs are not gonna stop barking. He would never. It's interesting. They heard one of their own, Tom Sandoval, and so they were quiet. And now that Tom Sandoval's off, they're like, oh, the rest of the dogs can speak. The Taylor breakup. I will cover that on a different live. This needs to be dedicated purely to what this is. Here's what I will do. There were some people asking if they can watch this later. I will download this because I can do that on here and I can post it on my YouTube channel. If you want to subscribe, great. Don't expect consistent content because I do this whenever I feel like kind of heated about something or like something is of special importance. I feel really invested in this because I feel like we've seen him be a misogynist for years, and it's enlightening now to finally see it like bubble up to the surface, and you can't deny it anymore. Why does he always look greasy? I don't know, but I feel like I always look greasy, so I can't comment on that. We were talking about Tom Schwartz. I don't think Tom could have financially withstand the breakup because he was overly leveraged. That Howie did ask him that. I fast forwarded through it. But he did say, like, so you're still living in the house with Ariana? And he's like, I can't afford to, like, go somewhere else. Especially since he, again, leveraged part of his equity in the home for the bar. So that's a legal issue that I need to make a TikTok about. But yeah, this is... Wonder what Kristen thinks? Oh, go check out her podcast. She's talked about it heavily. She also went on Nick Vile's podcast. Vial? I don't know how to pronounce it. You're welcome. Would LVP drop Tom? I don't know. 100% Steph. She said, I feel like the real reason he delayed the breakup is money. Probably. Well, I don't think he delayed the breakup. I think he wasn't going to do it. Why would you jump off a cliff without a parachute? He has Rachel. Rachel doesn't have enough money to sustain him. Sandoval is deeply in debt with these ventures that he's decided to open up and isn't making a ton of money off of right now. Then COVID hits, right? Like he doesn't have the ability to support himself to the means that he's previously been supported, right? Vanderpump Rules money, endorsement money, cocktail book money. Like, he's only invested money thus far into Schwartz and Sandy's. It hasn't even been open for a full year. So, yeah. So, he was going to continue till he got caught and make Ariana do it. Yeah, which is exactly what happened. He said he was worried for others. He never wanted to lose this relationship. Anyway. Okay. I'm going to get off. Thank you to all of you for listening in. I really appreciate it. Give me a little bit. I'll download it. I'll try to edit like the end and the beginning, and then I'll throw it up onto my YouTube channel. Have a good Tuesday. For the longest time today, I thought it was Wednesday, and I thought we were getting pump rolls tonight. But alas, we're not. Tomorrow it is. So maybe I'll try to do it. Maybe I'll try to go live on Thursday afternoon, and then we can recap after that point, because it does seem like with the sneak peeks of tomorrow, everything's going to start to unfold beautifully in front of our eyes. All right, guys. Talk soon.